Welcome to Homeschool is a Work of Heart. I'm Melissa Webb, and after years in the classroom and years homeschooling and supporting those in home education, and even more years creating curriculum for families like yours, I have learned this. Homeschooling isn't about perfection. It is about purpose. And this podcast is here to encourage you, to guide you, and to remind you that what you're doing truly matters. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of Homeschool is a Work of Heart. We have so many new people joining us. I did a summit last week and oh my goodness, met so many amazing new people. And if you're now a new listener, I want to welcome you. I'm really glad that you are joining our small but mighty community. And this week's title probably caught the interest of several of you, wondering, what is she talking about, judging other homeschooling families? What is going on? Yes, I could get a little heated today. It's possible. What I really want to talk about is stereotyping. Have you ever noticed how quickly we can put people into neat little boxes? We hear one story, or we meet one person, or we watch one viral video, and suddenly we've decided we understand millions of people. But are all rich people greedy? Are older generations terrible with technology? Is everyone on the far left or far right absolutely crazy? We have thoughts about this, and it's very human to stereotype, but I want to encourage us in this week's podcast to increase our personal awareness of where we may be doing this, lean in to evidence, data, and remove emotion. Don't we spend our time teaching our children not to stereotype others? I think we do. We remind them every person deserves to be known as an individual. And then we grow up and somehow we forget the lesson. It happens. It just does. And last month, a grown-up person who should know better spoke on her podcast, and her mean clip about homeschoolers went viral. It has gotten so much attention. And I am not even going to mention the creator, the influencer, whatever you want to call her. I'm not even going to mention her by name, because if you missed her unkind, sharply tongued rant, I want you to consider yourself fortunate. She stereotyped big time. And what I will say is that while she sat there and described homeschoolers as if we all look alike, we all believe the same things, we all vote the same way, we all worship the same way, we all parent alike, I found myself biting my tongue. The clip generated, by the way, plenty of outrage. I was not the only one. And I know that things like this are clickbait. She's probably hoping it is absolutely going to up her ratings, which is why I thought, I'm not doing this. I am not giving her any of my time and energy. I'm not going to go and post. Then this past week, a parent sent me a fantastic article. It was so sound and reasonable. It was submitted as an opinion piece in The Hill, and I will absolutely link her article for you if you'd like to read it. And I am so happy to talk about this woman. She is a great example of the importance of clear, articulate thinking on paper. Yes, those would be her writing skills, and they are paying off for Angela Watson. She's a PhD. She's an associate research professor at the Johns Hopkins School of Education, and she's a director there, specifically of the Homeschool Research Lab. And like with any good opinion piece, an actually good opinion piece, The emotion should be left out. Whereas this person who went on her podcast rant was only emotion. She was so emotional. But this article by Angela Watson, data-driven, evidence completely included. And so again, rather than responding with emotion, she showed up with her research done and her data points ready. And I think you'll really like the article. So like I said, be sure to go to the show notes if you want to read it. But here are some of the things I walked away with. One of the things that is stereotypical about homeschoolers is that we're all the same, which couldn't possibly be further from the truth. We are not the same. In fact, we are so different. Now, she had some data from 2023 to 2024. In that school year, there were nearly 3 million children, kindergarten through 12th grade, that were reported as homeschooling in America. Now, more recently, I've heard that number has gone up to over 4 million. Some places have even stated that it's closer to 5 million, but it is on the rise. Homeschooling is on the rise. And you probably know that. You probably know more people choosing to homeschool this upcoming year. It is on the rise. And if homeschooling were only for one narrow group of families, those numbers wouldn't make much sense. 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, and we're all the same? Absolutely not. Data shows that is not true. And there are so many reasons why people choose to homeschool. She had her reasons and they were very limited, but we all know there are so many reasons why a person chooses to homeschool. You cannot stereotype this. Some are homeschooling to meet academic needs. Some have special needs children. Some have especially gifted learners who were falling behind. Some are military families who travel. Some need schedule flexibility. Some are very concerned these days about safety on school campuses. Others, it's about family values and they don't like what the curriculum is offering up these days. For some, it's just the mental health piece of it. I know several families who love to travel. Therefore, homeschooling makes the most sense because you can take that with you. Others are entrepreneurial families. I have had students who are really strong athletes or artists, performing arts. And because they're pursuing those gifts and talents, they end up having to go places to perform in whatever that may be. There's so many reasons, as well as you never know how long someone is going to homeschool. It is not like every person homeschools for the exact same amount of time. I know plenty of people who only homeschooled for 1 year, and I know others who homeschooled kindergarten to 12th grade. It's so varied. I know some who have returned to public school after 1 semester, and some who left and never came back. Some who never even went to a classroom environment from day one. I know some homeschooling families who mix online classes with their co-ops. They hire tutors. They do dual enrollment in high school with their local colleges. There is no way that we can say there is a typical homeschooler these days. So I think we all agree on that, yes? Oh, it just got me so heated up, I have to tell you. Now, in the article, I loved all her data points. She pointed out what's obvious to us who are in the community. And we have to know that people who are looking at us, they're not in the community. They're looking through their dirty, dusty window. They're not seeing us as individuals. And it's okay that they have these skewed vantage points. It's okay. But it is something that we want to be aware of. As well, in the article, I loved one of her lines. She had written a line that said, caricature is a poor basis for policy. In that part of her article, she was talking about how states are now given the ability to determine if school choice is something that we want and what that should look like, and funding. All of these kinds of policies are being considered. Her point was, let's not just make this drastic caricature of what homeschoolers are. When I read that line in my mind, I immediately went to Disneyland and I pictured those artists who draw those exaggerated portraits, those caricatures where you're looking at somebody who now suddenly has a really big nose or a huge smile or big ears or whatnot. They do it to be funny. And it's certainly not what the real person really looks like. It's a caricature. And I think that's true when it comes to homeschoolers. I mean, really, how much of someone's story do we ever really know, in homeschool or out? We hear one story and assume we know an entire group of people. And I am guilty of this too. I am working on my own awareness. I hear about one rude teenager and my brain wants to go, teenagers today. Or you hear about a bad teacher. Yep, teachers today, they just don't care anymore. We group them as if it's everyone. Or you hear about an irresponsible homeschool family. Yep, those homeschoolers. Or maybe there's a terrible public school incident. Oh, public schools today. Our brains naturally create categories because it's efficient. It's actually what our brain is supposed to do. So if you do it, first, remind yourself, I have a healthy brain that's trying to be very efficient. And don't stop there. Remind yourself that categories are often lousy at describing real individual people. When we reduce people to a stereotype, we stop asking questions. We stop listening. We stop learning about those people. And I will say, the longer I work with homeschool families, and it's been over 15 years now, the less interested I have become in labels. I have met almost any kind of homeschooler you can imagine. I know just how wide and broad the homeschool community is. I mean, I've worked with Christian families, secular families. I've worked with single parents, working parents wanting to homeschool, military families who need to move around a lot. I've worked with grandparents who are raising their grandchildren and homeschooling a second generation. I've worked with families who have struggling readers. I have families who have gifted writers. I have families with neurodivergent learners. I have families who speak multiple languages. And here's where I will stereotype them. Do you want to know what almost every one of them has in common? I'll stereotype them for you. They love their children. They're trying to make thoughtful decisions. They are wondering and they worry if they're doing enough because that's how much they care. And you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like really good parenting, not politics. I have watched thousands of parents sit beside children who are frustrated when it comes to learning, to school, to academics. Now, they do not do this because they are trying to create some grand social movement in the world. They're not. They are doing the hard thing because they love their kids. They are looking for a better fit, a smarter fit, a safer fit. They are doing this because they want learning for their children to make sense and to have a say because they care. And this is a very different picture than what this one particular person's stereotype wanted to paint of us. If you heard it, if you saw it, I hope you could be like a duck and just let that roll right off your feathers. Don't let it stick. We want to rise up. That's always what we want to do. So I have a challenge for you this week. Whether it's this week, this semester, maybe this whole next school year, I want you to keep this top of mind. I just wonder what would happen if we, the homeschooling community, yours, whether it be small, medium, or large, what if we became known as the group of people, you want to stereotype us? We're the group of people that refuse to stereotype others. You may sometimes want to stereotype even other homeschoolers, but let's not. Let's trust that everybody is out here trying to do their best. And what if we became the ones that did that? We were the first to assume the best and then to ask questions if it looks like someone needs help or is struggling. How about that we are the first to listen? What if we're the first to recognize every one of these families has a story we cannot see? We can care and get involved. Absolutely. We can offer encouragement and offer guidance and support. That's who we want to be. You want to stereotype me like that? You go right ahead. And if you are listening this week and you're new to homeschooling, I know there are a lot of you out there. I just want to welcome you to this warm and wonderful educational community. We're not perfect. We're not. We don't do anything perfectly. But you know what we do? We have heart. We have grit. We have the willingness to show up and to try to do our best for our kids. You don't have to be anything in particular to belong here. You just have to be you and show up being the best version, always wanting to be the next best version of yourself. And if you've been homeschooling for years, I want to encourage you to keep encouraging the families that are coming in behind you. You know firsthand what is the hardest of hard in the beginning of homeschooling. You know what has worked and what has not worked. You know that good days and bad days still exist, no matter how long you've been homeschooling, because that is life. But don't you want to be part of a homeschooling community that isn't built because we're all the same? Nobody wants that. I don't want to be the same as anyone else. I love our diversity. Our homeschooling community must be built on the fact that we are people willing to help one another. Yes, we want to help our family, we want to help our children, and we want to help our community. And in this world today that seems determined to put people in categories, perhaps one of the greatest lessons we can teach our children is how to see people individually. Isn't that what we really want? I hope it is. All right, everybody. Remember, we are the change. Let's do this. Right on. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And hey, if you are feeling stretched thin and you would love some support with teaching writing, I offer programs designed to make that part of homeschooling easier and more enjoyable for both you and your child. I also have free resources on my website, so please be sure to check those things out and subscribe to the podcast. You do not have to do this alone. Right on.